Hello, beautiful beings. Thank you for tuning in to this video again. Dante here, and today I kind of want to talk about some things that I've been coming to understand in my own journey that have really helped kind of allow me to relax into myself and feel a lot happier and more content with things. So I want to start off by saying, of course, this is a time of pandemic and crisis where a lot of people are going through a lot, and that this can be an opportunity for great healing, as I've said in many other videos, when we really take the time to go inward and connect with ourselves. And I feel like I'm doing super well during this time because I am setting aside that time, and the search for the external goals has sort of fallen away as I bring myself more into this healing connection, doing a lot of body work, Qigong yoga, doing a lot of introspection and a lot of self-inquiry and study, and kind of fine-tuning my tools, as well as I'm so much focused upon sharing channeling and sharing these videos. There's so much happening and coming together, so we have to have hope and not distract ourselves so much with all of the things happening out there. Of course, as I've said in many other videos, though, I just want to start off with that note, that tone. Some people might need to hear it again. And so what I want to talk about really is this need for understanding, or this need for recognition, this need for, mostly understanding, this need to feel belonging. So it's a really innate thing within the human race, and it comes back from our ancient origins. As a tribal species, we all want to feel like we belong and we're a part of something. Yet the mind has really evolved in humans, and we've really developed these strong concepts of good and bad, right and wrong, and so much more. And this is a really big part of our evolution. It's so important and necessary. Yet oftentimes these concepts start to get in the way of us feeling connected to others because we don't fit in the box that they attempt to fit themselves into, or we feel kind of so unique and different that we don't really feel like we have the way to create that connection through the other people in our lives. And I've made videos about this in the past, where I was sharing about my experience of feeling this strong sense of not belonging anywhere, as I live in different worlds so often. So in a sense, I'm a very specialized being in two ways. This is the way I've come to see it. I'm very specialized in two ways. For one, being on a spiritual path is already quite specialized in its own right. And there's a whole world that's asleep and not aware of the greater spiritual reality and greater spiritual truths that we're all tapping into within the spiritual community. And becoming even more specialized, I'm in the ET contact aspect of the spiritual community, and quite deep in that, working as a channel and studying channeled works and opening myself to all of the information that's out there. It's a big part of my life and experience. So a lot of people that I meet in daily life are not as tuned into those paths, not tuned into those frequencies. And even star seeds in their own right often feel alone, like people in their community don't understand, like they have no one to talk to. And so many of us star seeds are gathered on the internet and always kind of exchanging information and experiences and giving each other support systems, which is so important and powerful. Though in a way, for now on this planet, it is kind of a lonely path. And on the flip side, I am also I'm pausing for a second before I go into the next thing, because it can be feel like a lonely path, But the truth of this is, what I'm actually trying to talk about to a larger extent is that you're never actually alone. And so you may, as a starseed, you may not have as many humans who can share these ideas with around you all the time. Though if you really follow your heart, follow your passion, allow things to unfold, they will be there. And it's really also about making the best with what you have. If you have so many of those connections online where you can talk about those experiences and your connection to those beyond worlds and altered states, then do that. And the connection to those beings is really meant to accentuate the fact that we aren't alone, and we're never alone, and we could never be alone. So aloneness, recognizing your individuality within yourself, is a lot different than loneliness, which is like a feeling, which is a perceptual reality where there's nothing and no source of love and contact or connection. And we don't want that. We really have so much power to transcend that and go beyond it. Now, on a flip side, being gay is also a sort of specialization that there's not that many gay people. We have our own communities oftentimes, but coming into those communities as a starseed, so tapped in, and right off the bat, oh well, what do you do? Oh well, I talk to aliens, and people call me on the phone, and we talk to aliens together, and that's my work. Some people are not sure what to make of me, even though initially when they meet me in the gay community, they're very attracted to me. So it's another sort of layer of specialization that has been challenging. And on top of that, I have my own kind of unique preferences within that community of what sort of people are my type or not my type. And that has also been something that has been sort of an issue for me at times when I feel like expressing certain interests and preferences steps on other people's toes. And I'm like, oh, what am I doing wrong? I'm just saying what I want. And it has been a journey. It's been intense. And so throughout my life, I've gone back and forth between these spiritual communities where I'm probably the only gay guy, or not the only one, but out of very few there, no one's my type, and the gay and queer community isn't gathering or congregating in very cohesive ways, and that has left me feeling lonely. And then going back to more urban settings where I'm very close in contact with the queer community and the gay community, and having so many friends in the community, and enjoying that aspect of my experience, but feeling like I'm not understood, or feeling like the energy I'm bringing is not received. And going through this for a while, and even right before the coronavirus thing kind of hit, I was really feeling that. I was feeling like people here don't get me. Now I'm in the more spiritual, hippie community place. And people don't get me. People aren't comfortable around me. People aren't able to go to that place of vulnerability that I am so willing to go to, so I don't belong again. And of course, then coronavirus turns everything upside down, and I realize it's a time to really go inward. And then spending much more time at home, I realize it's a time to find the right home. And so I move around from place to place looking for the right setting for me to anchor into, and none of the places feel right. And 3 moves later, I find the right place that I'm moving to in a couple of days. So it's been a whirlwind, but within that, it also has been a value shift for me, and really bringing me to focus on what's important. I can't be distracted by this sense that, oh, I don't have the right relationships, or I'm not understood. I'm more focused on what's the most immediately important for my health, well-being, and my ability to thrive, and my ability to help other people do the same. So I have gone so deep into doing videos and channeling and taking care of myself in the ways that I can, and a lot has changed. And this kind of message came to me throughout this process that being understood is not a need. And we often think that we like have these endless discussions with people and write so much about ourselves, or whatever it is we do, in order to try to let other people see our reality and see who we are. And the truth of it is only you know yourself in the deepest way. Only you can understand every experience you've had, every thought you've had, every connection you make on other levels when you start to open up to that multidimensional level of your being. Only you know all of it, and therefore only you can really understand yourself. And the purpose of making connection perhaps isn't to be understood, but it is to be loved, and to express love, to love others, and to love and to be loved are one. And we do have this kind of dualistic experience of sometimes we're very good at giving love but not receiving it, which is my learning curve, and a common learning curve for light workers, because we often come in as empaths, where we're just really tuned to other people's emotions and we want to do something positive for them. So sometimes we are more giving of love than we are able to receive it. And one reason for that can be we don't actually understand the other ways that people give love. We think that our way of giving love is the best way. And so you can look at that book, The Love Languages, that talks about the specific language that people express love with. And that can be a helpful tool for a lot of people. Though for me, it's more of an energetic experience of coming to really integrate the message of what the Pleiadians and the other channeled beings are saying, is that everything is made of love. It's the same vibrating energy moving through everything in this reality. So when we're super tuned into that energy, we can experience love from everything, from the trees, from the people around us, from crystals, from anything at all. And it's really getting this attunement with the back of our heart chakra and allowing that place to open, to be this door through which this love and this energy can flow into us. And as we do that, we can start to see that, some people express love through complimenting you. Some people express love through trying to give you advice. Some people express love through what was that? Some people express love through touch. Some people express love through gifts. Everybody has their own way of doing that. And some people can only give so much love. Some people give love, but they also have conditions on it. And unconditional love actually doesn't care the conditions they place on their love. It takes the love in anyway and gives back a more pure unconditional love. And so I first had to learn this years ago when my father came to visit me here in Guatemala, and I took him to a group session with a person who I was working with and studying with energy healing at that time. And my teacher said to me, Dante, you just have to let that love in from your father. You can't keep waiting around until he's some enlightened being or avatar in order to let that energy integrate within you. Just let it in. And I really broke down and could really feel how much love was there for my father that I wasn't really letting in, because I was, too focused on his anxiety or his worry or his, all of these things that were wrong with him. And in order to really drop deeper into connection with everything and everyone around us, it's important to just accept the love they give as it is. And also, we're continuously, in accepting that, we're also continuously working towards creating better connections with people around us who may really be able to love us, or people at a great distance that maybe don't understand every aspect of their experience, of your experience rather. And that's just what I've come to learn after so many of these years. I was really wishing somebody would get, everything about me. I'm this unique being with these preferences and these connections, and I like this and not that, and this is just who I am. And everybody actually will have their own opinion about that. They have their own take on that. And the message I get from my guides is really that I'm here to bring this frequency that so much of the time people don't even realize they are receiving from me. And what they make with that is about them and not me. But I'm just here to allow that transmission to occur. And from that point forward, the rest is on them. And people understand me within the framework of their reality, not within my reality. Like, they don't have the same framework. They don't have the same map. They don't have the same understanding and experiences that I do. So they just fit me into what they know and what they already understand. So they understand me from their perspective, but they can never understand me from my own perspective. And we can spend a lot of work trying to understand where people are coming from and trying to meet minds, though a lot of that is actually unnecessary when we sink into that heart space of receiving the love they are capable of giving in the way that they are, and giving as unconditionally our own love to them. That exchange of energy is working at a much higher level than this mental level where we're processing all these thoughts and belief systems. And of course, we need to work on that level too, to clear out those negative and limiting belief systems. Though we don't need to spend all the time there and try to work out every kink in how we can see and view each other. And I feel like there's a lot of this energy in the world at the time that can be very confusing when it comes to this idea of identity. So your identity is kind of like a mask that you wear that is what you hope other people are going to understand about you. And that serves a purpose, by and large, to some extent, though it often is a cover-up. And I feel what I've learned from my journey is that it takes a lot of experiencing rejection and experiencing a sense of being othered and out of the loop in order to fully love and embrace and accept yourself. And I feel that, in the spiritual side, when people get really attached to these labels they have about themselves, I am an Arcturian starseed, I am this kind of light worker, and my purpose is this or that, or within this queer community, like, I am this gender and not that gender. You could go so far down the rabbit hole, and people making really broad statements about what this or that means to them. And I think a lot of this is based upon resistance, and the highest spiritual principle is really that all is one and the one is in all. And regardless of how you're expressing yourself right now in this incarnation, you've had incarnations where you've been every other sort of being. And at a core level, you hold the potential for every other experience that people are having. So it's a shift in, instead of attempting to understand and trying to work through all of these mental layers and frameworks, to instead just rest into love and acceptance of all that is just as it is. And it's also, this will probably be a whole nother theme, but an accepting of aloneness even within this process. And this is kind of what sealed this whole understanding of this transmission was a transmission I actually received from another channel recently that said that, as somebody who is really living with one foot in spirit and living with another in physical, I'm sort of in my own world a lot of the time. And even in the deepest relationships that I share, there is still going to be this sense of aloneness. There's still going to be this sense that I am not fully received and understood. And this aloneness isn't a bad thing at all. It's actually just a reflection of the personal connection with spirit that I maintain, and the way that I maintain it is unique, and it is that way just so I can reflect the unique transmission, the unique message and frequency that I bring into the world to serve the purpose that it serves. And the most challenging part is I don't always know exactly what purpose it is serving, but I know that it is serving one, and I know that it is received with a lot of love and importance for those that take it. So accepting that on one hand we're always connected and we're never alone, and on the other we're always living within our own world, in our own perceptual reality. And so many beings can come and meet us and see us and receive the frequency we offer, yet all of the details and the uniqueness of that frequency are never going to be completely understood and translated in their reality. And there's something to enjoy about this. Then there's some sort of inner sanctuary of privacy and security that can be found here. And there's also a coming to understand that not every detail needs to be shared, and that only certain information needs to be revealed to serve the purpose that it does. And this is a shift for me as well, as someone who, with Mercury in Sagittarius, is always bent on thinking about and discovering the truth and communicating that truth, and instead going to a much higher truth, which is everything is true and there is no truth, and accepting that, and from that space, then only what is most important and only what really serves the highest output and exchange of love is what needs to be shared. With that said, I intended this to be a shorter video, and we're at 21:44 when I looked. So I'm going to end this video now and express my love and gratitude and thanks for you tuning into this channel. And hit me up with any questions you have about future videos you'd like me to share. Tune in on the new moon, full moon, quarter moon. Next one will be a quarter moon, to the live stream channeling session that you can find on my page on Facebook, Dante Shante Singh, or Be Bliss. And there's an event page. I'll keep that in the description. And I love you, I bless you, and have a very